All right, so we're on today with a special list. This is going to be one of our top 10 lists. So
Technically top five, but your five plus my
uh,
five.
top 10
10 most gruesome killers in horror history.
Two
Oh,
special boys with their special lists.
Damn right, baby.
oh yeah, you know it.
All right.
So, to get this started, are you wanting to flip the coin and I call it?
To get this started, I want, because we were talking about our lists earlier today while I was at work, and I wanted to put someone on who I love in horror, but I don't know if they classify them as horror. So just to get us started, I want to
Honorable
talk.
mentions.
No, I want to discuss like what classifies as a slasher.
Okay, like that would be a great way to really start off.
Yeah, because the number five on my list was going to be David from Lost Boys, but that's not a slasher, is it?
How many victims does he have?
It's in the movie. I think it's like two or three specifically, but you don't see the kills specifically. Like you just see a guy get taken off when he's flying by, so you don't really see him like kill anyone.
He might have to go on to our honorable mentions for sure, but I wouldn't really put him on the slasher list. Maybe when we have a vampire, that's going to be more where we'll put him. Like
Yeah.
top vampires, because
I would
I
count that as vampire.
yeah
Different subgenre.
yeah that's more supernatural.
Yeah, I guess so.
So should we start with honorable mentions?
Well, first of all, I want to know how your day
Long.
was. Long?
I
Tell
had
me what happened.
I had to drive all the way from one area of the province we live to about like an hour and a half away. So I put something on. It was our Gruesome Twosome, our second podcast. It was I confused it with a real podcast. Not
Well, it is a real podcast.
it is a real podcast, but just
Slashers would be like Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers.
yeah.
But then, wouldn't Jason Voorhees be considered a zombie though?
Technically, yeah, he would be a zombie with brains, I guess. But with Jason, you hear his inner monologue, and it's like, kill for mommy, kill for mommy. Those kids at Crystal Lake have been very bad.
But like, so with slashers, it just like depends. Like, does it have to be like you see the kills on screen? Because
Your mama is a zombie.
Your mama is a zombie. Why? Because she has no brains. We're all kidding, man.
love your mama. Well, yeah, because like obviously for me,
Your mama gave me brain, winky face.
well, that means absolutely nothing.
Can't get into this one.
Anyways, I always believe that slashers have to have kills on screen. That's why I didn't put David on my list or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
I-
how many kills would there have to be?
Ooh. That's a tough one because unless you're counting sequels for my number 5, you really only have 3 kills.
One
in
at
the entire
least.
movie. One at least.
Just specifically one? Okay.
And I guess if they have extra movies that they're killing in too. So honorable mentions. I would put Norman Bates, or not Norman Bates.
Imagine not knowing
Patrick
brain is
Bateman.
urban slang for head.
I would put Patrick Bateman on the list as one of my honorable mentions. I couldn't really put him in, and it was going between a couple. Do you have an extra one that you were like, oh, I should have put that on the list, but I didn't?
Not really. Like I said, I was going to put David, but I mean, nah. I don't really think I have an honorable mention. I had a hard time coming up with five that weren't your five.
Yeah, I sent you a pretty big list of like,
Yeah, you did.
hey, these are the ones I'm thinking about going with. Tell me which ones are yours, and then I just basically spent time going like, okay, this one, okay, that one, okay, this one, okay, that one, okay, this one. But I'm gonna let you flip the coin,
Ooh.
and I'm gonna choose heads before you even flip it. Oh, flip it again. Gotta catch it in the air.
I don't have my glasses on. Heads.
Well, you know me, I don't mind
Is
finishing last.
Candyman a slasher?
I'd count him as a
Oh, yeah.
slasher.
I'd count him.
I would count him.
Yes.
He has a ton of kills. So
And so, who is your number 5?
it starts with you, man.
Oh, you said heads, didn't you?
Yeah, but I'm going last. I choose.
Oh,
to go
you
last.
choose.
It's like a football game where it's like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
All right. Okay. I get my phone. So, my number 5. Oh fuck! But I don't know if you would count. You know what? You know what? Fuck it. I'm going Candyman.
You had Candyman on your list.
You know, I had someone else that I forgot. I forgot I had to update my list, and I had someone, but I forgot who, and I was put on the spot. But yeah, I'm going with Candyman.
Candyman.
Any notable kills that you want to talk about? Candyman did.
Like I said, I was just put on the spot. I wasn't really prepared. It's been a while since I watched any of the movies. I think I watched the first one again. Like the last time was probably beginning of the year. It's been a while since I watched. I kind of forgot about the.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, because I just can't stop talking about this movie, and I've talked about this movie almost every single
podcast.
It's been mentioned. He's been mentioned. But
The way he fucked up Ted Rami was gnarly.
Oh, there's one. Ted Rami. Kill for a Candyman. My number 5 would be Norman Bates. The shower scene on its own is always going to be referred as one of the first full-on kills that you actually see the full kill taking place from when the curtain gets pulled off and the girl screams and the knife comes down.
Famous scream.
Yeah, the famous scream. Other notable kills was the time the guy walked upstairs and all you see is just person in the background. You don't even see the mom yet. You see the kill, and more kills happen in the second movie and third movie, but I don't watch anything past the second movie, just because that end scene where he's just open or no vacancies, and it's just like, he's getting ready for something. So, yeah, I would have to throw Norman Bates on there. I haven't really checked out the Bates Motel, but I think that's show I gotta get it too.
That seems pretty interesting.
That one, yeah. What's your number 4?
My number 4, I gotta go with who do I have here?
Bates Motel was really good.
I'm going with the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers. I know he's a monster, but to me, I believe that's a. See, this is my. Fuck, I know this is going to piss a lot of you guys off, but I would consider that a slasher.
I would not consider it a slasher. I would consider it something.
I know it's like a creature feature.
Yeah.
But I'm putting him in this list.
Well, especially with the first movie with him and having his van, like there's a lot of like.
He's very human.
Yeah.
Like he knows what he's doing. He can drive, but the second film is really where it gets me. That if we're kind of like. That's when you realize, like, oh, it is like specifically a creature feature. But I fucking love the Creeper the Creeper.
I love that fact that he has a song that's just like Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers? Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get them eyes? You get those eyes.
Okay, so wait, I want to know what you guys' reaction is like. Do you consider him a slasher or just a creature for a creature feature?
Hard to really say that he's not a killer, at least in a movie, you
Well,
know?
obviously he was a killer, but
Yeah.
serial killers different,
Yeah.
or slashers. So, but my top three are guaranteed slashers.
My number 4 is everyone's favorite good guy.
I'll admit,
Paul.
I've never seen the Jeepers Creepers series. I seen that one on a slasher list earlier.
So mine is everyone's favorite cycle toy. It's Chucky. I put Chucky on this list because I feel like we've been forgetting about Chucky a lot of times talking on this podcast.
What was his name in the movie? It was Charles Lee.
Charles Lee something, but he's just Chucky.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah. Notable kills for Chucky for me would
Charles Lee Ray.
Charles Lee Ray. Notable kills for me for Chucky would be him killing his friend that taught him how to do voodoo by stabbing a doll of him in the first movie. Um, there's a lot of really good kills that Chucky has done, and I can't just name one or two. Like, even the movies I really don't count as Chucky movies, which would be The Bride, The Seed, and The Cult. Those ones are more comedies for me because of just
I love the scene of Chucky. I thought that one was great.
yeah, they're great movies, but they're not as intense as the Child's Play ones. Where even
Seed
where
of Chucky was my least favorite.
yeah, that's
Oh,
fair.
come on.
I think it's
Don't you love that little weirdo?
the weirdo son of his. Yeah. But yeah, going more on Chucky, you know, he's just a horror icon, and you know, with the TV show, it's really brought out a lot more Chucky fans. I will say that. Another show that I've been like, I should watch it, but I just don't have the time.
Sorry, can continue.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I would basically put him on there. Like, you don't really see much of Charles Lee Ray in human form, but he has made that doll where if someone has him, I'm always like testing. Like, is this really Chucky or
I love the scene in the first one where the mother realizes that Chucky's actually alive.
and he actually comes
Yeah.
to life?
I
Yeah.
love that scene because like he checks the batteries and like there's nothing in there. Then he goes, "Hi, I'm Chucky. Want to play?" And then she drops it, being scared. And then she goes to pick it up again, and it's just like, "I'll kill you, bitch!" And it's just like flailing around, and she's just going like this, as if just like going like this.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Like,
Oh man, there's so much like demon. Like, I don't know if you've seen that Twilight show with the little doll, and the dad thinks it's alive, but there's a lot of kind of like there's got to be some inspiration from that Twilight episode of Chucky being a real, because it's like Tiny Tina wants to play or something like that. Tiny Tina wants to kill you. They later redid that and put it into Trios of Horror. So you guys haven't seen much of the
That Twilighty show about that zone?
yeah, the Twilight Zone. Yeah. Um. So there's a lot of Twilight Zones that later became Simpsons episodes. So I just love the fact that the Twilight Zone is still prevalent in today's horror. Anyways, I've talked about Chucky for a while now.
I haven't. So I got.
I love it.
So when I was younger, like this is probably like when I was actually, believe it or not, 15. I only had one nightmare about any slasher, and that was Chucky. Like I woke up like going, "What the fuck?" Yeah. So he's the fun fact. He's the only slasher in horror that I've actually had a nightmare about. But but before that, I never watched Chucky, and that's what got me interested in like the Chucky movie or the Child's Play movies. So I was like 15, 16 when I first saw them. So when I first thought of Chucky, I thought it was like Annabelle, or it was like a possessed doll, but no, he's like a well, like he. I imagine him running around
Yeah,
like.
there's
No,
a lot of
I was not
voodoo.
expecting him just to be a serial killer. And watching, I'm just like, what the fuck? He's not. He can actually put words together. So, young me was pretty dumb. But anyways, I just realized that that neither of us have this one guy on, and I'm actually going to going to move some stuff around. So my number 5 was Candyman, and number 4 was the Creeper.
Yeah, that is
I'm
correct.
putting the Creeper in number 5, and then number 4 I'm putting in Jason Voorhees. I can't believe we didn't.
Jason was on my list. He was on a list that I was gonna put on. Um, I'm surprised you didn't put my number 3 as your number 3.
I was giving that to you because I'm surprised that's not higher, honestly.
Well, the other two are kind of like personal
Yeah, well,
mine, so
number 2 is iconic. But anyways, yeah, because I was in a rush putting this list together because I was at work and I have an office job, so I'm just sitting down. I'm trying to send out emails and all that today, and then I get a call from this guy. It's just like, hey, I sent you my list here. Check it out. So I'm like, oh fuck, that's right too, because I was super busy today, and I'm like, oh fuck, okay, put this guy down, and I totally forgot to put Jason Voorhees down. So
yeah.
Voorhees is my number 4. So I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to talk about my number 3.
Yeah, that's fine.
That was very unorganized of me on my part. I do apologize. But I know a lot of people love the original Friday the 13th movies and all that, but I think the remake was honestly one of the better films. Not the best, but one of the better. Now, what is your take on that?
Well, with the original films, like especially the original one, you would have to give the nod to Jason's mom.
Pamela.
Yeah, I'm very happy of the like the first Friday the 13th. It was really well made, especially for the
I
time.
agree. The
And-
remake was really well done.
Well, a lot of people don't think the remake was well done, but I'm not one of them. I know a lot of people look at the remakes of a lot of those movies and they kind of sigh and, oh, really? You picked that one? But it's one of those movies that it sums up the first 3 movies without having to go and watch the first 3 movies. I can talk about.
Don't be a mark.
I was going to bring that up, but I didn't want to
Yeah.
say that. But yeah, I find that the only reason why a lot of people don't like it is just because of the fact that Jason Voorhees kidnapped someone. But in my opinion, it made sense. And I just love this one because of how, like, even the
Last inside joke.
fair enough. But yeah, I find that
inside.
the remake, Jason was a lot more brutal. He was like seeing him run and that opening scene. Have you seen the remake?
Yeah, I have seen bits and pieces of it.
Oh,
I was
nuts.
I was kind of told by a lot of like horror experts it's one that you can leave off the list, but
No, it's definitely on there for me. I love it. But yeah, dude, the opening scene, the first 20 minutes, I was in shock. But it also had one of my favorite actors in the whole movie, Jared Padalecki. I think he's one of the better actors out there, especially with Supernatural. But I just love this Jason overall because excuse me, he is terrifying.
yeah, that's something you want with your
Took me
serial
about
killers.
30 YRS to rewatch Jason.
Yeah, that took a while. She was afraid of that theme song for a while. Like it would actually give her nerves.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't even go like.
The remake took the best parts of the first 3 movies and made something decent.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I agree with that statement.
And you'll if you watch the movie, you'll like how Jason gets his hockey mask
That's
because
totally
there
right.
is a throwback to like when he had the burlap sack.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I thought that was scary.
I
Just
might just have to put that movie on later on. I just bought Shutter too, so
dude, you're gonna love the movie. And there's a plot twist at the ending that I wouldn't say it's a plot twist, but it's just there's a twist that I was not expecting, and I thought it was really fucking good. But yeah. So Jason Voorhees number 4.
number
I do
5.
no. I'm placing.
Oh, you're placing the Creeper number 4.
Yeah.
Or number 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Creeper, Jason Voorhees. Now going on to number 3 for me. I am going with who did I have? Now this one is so hard for me to pick and choose from, but I think with this one, I'm going to have to go Leatherface. I'm repping the shirt right now. From Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
All I'm repping right now is Charles.
Yeah, all you're repping. That's a great shirt, man. I love it.
Never trust a hippie. Yeah, it's a really good shirt.
Yeah, so the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of my all-time, probably number 2 for favorite slasher film. I'm talking about the original. I think the original came out in '78, if I'm not mistaken.
74.
Was it? Oh, it was '74. What am I thinking of then?
I think you're thinking Michael Myers Halloween.
I absolutely am. Yep. But yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Even the first kill in the movie, I love that. One of my all-time favorite kills, because who was it that died first? Who was that guy? Just walked into their house trying to find someone.
It was one of the boyfriends.
I just can't remember his name.
Oh, you don't have to remember his name.
No.
Just remember his kill.
Yeah, so he walks into the house going, "Hello, anybody there?" And this is Texas, so like you were saying last podcast, they can do whatever they want.
Legal grounds to stand your ground is you can do whatever of force to protect your estate. So
Yeah, so he walks in. The steps are like, I guess for you guys, right here, and then there's like a little hall right here, and then there's like an opening doorway right here, and he's very slowly walking through. And like, who does this? Like, even if you're looking for like help, just because, what they found that one crazy guy, but
the hitchhiker.
yeah, the hitchhiker. Thank you. Like, he's being so careful. Like, hello, like, you wouldn't go into someone's house trying to find someone,
Texas Chainsaw was so beautifully shot.
right?
It was probably one of the best. It still is one of the best.
Oh yeah.
I watched the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I think I was making fun of it more than I was actually enjoying it.
Was that the what? Yeah. Oh my god. I will get into that, but I just want to finish up the skill here.
Yeah.
So he walks into that door or that doorway, and then just gets hit with the hammer or the mallet, and you just see Leatherface, and you just see the dude just like shaking, like he's twitching, because he hit him right upside the fucking noggin. And is my mic working? Okay. So, and then Leatherface grabbing the door and slamming it and hearing that shunk from the door. That is one of my favorite kills. I think that creeped me out probably more than any other kill I've ever seen. So there's that, but I think the 2003 remake, I think that one was really well done as well. A lot of people talk shit about it, but that generally gave me, like, I was on edge.
That is fair. Sorry if I'm playing with my mic a little bit too much. I'm just trying to make sure our mics aren't picking up each other and creating like an echo. But with two people watching right now that I trust with sound, they'll probably let us know if we're echoing.
Oh yeah, mostly. But yeah. So did you ever watch your 2003?
Is that the beginning? Texas Chainsaw, the beginning, where he's working at the meat factory, and then
No, isn't that the sequel, which is technically the prequel?
I
Yeah,
saw the
something like
remake
that.
before the original. Love both, but I gotta give the edge to the original.
Right? But you got to give it to the remake. They made the whole movie so uncomfortable to watch, even from the beginning where they were in the van and they're all sweating, like just dripping. Then oh, what's her name? The final girl. What's her name?
that dinner scene will always get me, where they're just at the table and
It's gonna bug me. I
the
should know
the
this.
cook's not really happy that they're torturing the girl, and he's kind of looking away and all that stuff. Um, he's looking up the final girl, so I'll just say,
Jessica Biel.
funny story that happened
Sally.
to
Her name is Sally.
me. I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre when we first moved to the town that we live in, and this was back in like 2009, and I was watching it, and the next morning I literally shat myself because they were tearing down a tree across the street, and all I could hear is like chainsaws, and I'm like, what the fuck is it? No, no, no. My dad's like, everything all right? I'm like, he's like, you were watching a horror film last night, weren't you?
How old were you at that? That was 15 years ago, so that would have been. You're just.
Yeah,
LMAO.
I would have been about 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
Which, if you ask me, is like one of the best times to watch a horror film is when you're really
yeah.
young. They stay with you for a long, long time. That's why I constantly put Norman Bates or talk about Psycho, because one of those times for our watch along on Patreon, and one of these times where I actually have you for like a good 3-5 hours, we'll probably hit record on this instead of stream, watch it so that we can actually do stuff with it later on with editing.
But sorry, going back to my part there, like, and Sally, and so they're in the van. Sally is just, she's not sweating at all.
2009? Shit, I was already 30.
Still
Old man
sexy
there.
beast.
I feel old at age 30 right now. I feel like driving all the way to my brother's new place outside of Battleford. It was not a long drive, but like takes its toll on you when you're driving a lot.
Hmm. So, you want to talk about the newest Texas Chainsaw, or do you want us to move on?
I'm good with whatever. For me, this is just like basically like talking and just being like huge fans of these ones. And I do believe the top 3 lists for each of us, we have like really good ones. So we could still talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre like till the cows come home.
Oh yeah, but I think this one we should talk about because
Okay, what's your opinions on the second one with Chop Top?
never seen it.
Put that on because that's got one of my favorite actors of all time in it as Chop Top. So
Like, there's still a lot of horror movies that I still have to watch, and that's what I love about horror is that there's just so many. But yeah, that's one I've been wanting to watch for a long time, but I just never got around to it. But
my number 3.
yeah,
All right.
like you said, we could talk about this movie, this series for a long time, but
This guy we've talked about probably last.
more than any other.
It's Art the Clown.
Yep.
I put Art the Clown as number 3 because it's the general horror icon for the new generation. He's got a lot of kills to talk about. He makes us laugh, which is probably the worst thing. Is we laugh too much about Art the Clown, and he deserves every bit of it. Is he a mime? Is he a clown? I I have to go with clown because it's in his name, Art the Clown. Killer Mime is still a really good title to have.
The only thing that's going through my head right now is just that chainsaw scene from the third movie.
Oh, the washroom scene.
Yeah. And then
Oh yeah,
making
Snow Angel or Blood Angels.
Yep.
That wouldn't even be like that. Is one of my favorite scenes, especially since
That was gnarly.
Oh, you saw it there, Rob?
Yeah. I do have to say, if you're going favorite kill for these guys, which
Oh,
I
I know
am.
what's coming.
It is the sawing in half in the first movie. That scene by itself.
We have to be specific. In which way did they get sawed in half, Otis?
Straight from the cooch to the temple, basically, and then he takes a selfie with her after, and I'm just like, holy crap, that is the best scene in the first Terrifier movie.
I don't know. I still think the best scene is where he just gets pissed off by the goth girl. there
That
and
kill
just-
made my jaw drop.
It was so messed up. I think that's really what made Art stand out more than any other person's, just because it's so fucked up.
It's not only that, it's he plays with his victims. Like, I know she's dubbed the crazy cat lady, but the mom,
The homeless.
the homeless mom in that movie, which you're wondering what set her off. Like, did she have there's a lot of people adding more to her backstory than I've ever really thought. And the one thing is he's playing around with her. He's sucking his thumb. He's going up to her, and the next scene you see is she's completely without her face, or no, she's completely without her hair and torso, and he's walking around in her skin suit. And it's one of the creepier scenes in the movie, and it's just, if you haven't seen the first Terrifier, I really recommend it.
Don't know what my favorite kill was from that movie.
Who?
Geraldo ran the fucking head because he was annoyed.
That
She was fighting back, and then he just shoots her in the leg, and then he shoots her in the head.
that will always be one of those scenes where I remember watching it with my wife, and I flat out, I don't want to say got pissed off, but I did say, "What the fuck?"
Like you weren't expecting it.
No, it goes against one of my rules. Like, serial killers shouldn't have guns.
But that's what we made so unexpected, and I think it added to his character because, like I said, he was starting to get beat the shit out of by that girl.
You know, I say serial killers shouldn't have guns, but like,
Well, your number.
what? Yeah, we got. We're not gonna say which is my number one.
Yeah,
but
not yet, but I knew that this was going. I knew who your number one was going to be.
yeah, like if you can't tell, like I'm sorry, but you haven't really been watching the podcast yet. But like, we can't go to my number one yet. Art the Clown still, you know, the one thing for most serial killers is you have to have an iconic look. Norman Bates has himself dressed up as his mom or a mother type figure. You have Jason Voorhees with the hockey mask. You can argue Jeepers Creepers has that kind of deformity with the wing, all that stuff, and he looks like, he kind of reminds me of the Mothman.
Mothman, really?
Well, not by how he looks, but just how he.
Oh,
Freddy
dude.
Sweater and Fathera.
Yep.
Yeah, and his fedora. They didn't say fedora right, but you have all these guys. What was your number 3 again?
My number 3 was
Leatherface.
Leatherface.
So you have him with the
leather face, the
with the-
apron.
chainsaw. He's dancing around with that. And Art the Clown kind of fits that silhouette of the face paint and the white and black suit that slowly gets bloodier and bloodier. By the way,
Well, he does clean it though.
yeah, he does. But he must be using a shit ton of lemon juice
Oh yeah.
to get all that blood off.
Whatever happened to the pale girl in Terrifier 3?
I think the pale little girl possessed Vicky. And I
Oh,
think
that was the demon.
yeah, I think that is what happened to the pale little girl is they had it so that her essence went into Vicky and no
That's what I
longer-
gathered in part 3.
Yeah, because she was missing in that one for sure. So that I think that's all we can talk about Art the Clown.
Yep. Got that iconic look. But so I guess moving on to my number 2. Now this one's going to be hard, but I think you guys will agree with me, but I'm putting Ghostface as number 2.
The funniest thing is you walked into the house and my wife is already watching the second Scream, and we basically had to run into his room because I knew what was coming. It was basically they're in the movie theater and the black chick's just talking and people are telling her to shut up, and this scene is both in the Scream 2 and Scary Movie.
Yep.
So we knew what was going to happen, but it was just like we were kind of like, okay, we can't get caught up watching a horror film when we're doing a horror podcast.
Yeah, because we would have gone into it. We probably wouldn't have started until like probably after the movie. But the funny thing is, when I walked into the house here, I see a certain someone was passed out, and there's a horror movie.
Okay,
on.
Austin, who was your favorite Ghostface?
Got to go with one of the OGs, Stu or Billy. I think they were the best. I like Stu because, well, Matthew Lillard, and everyone loves Stu because he was so outrageous throughout the whole movie. But Billy seemed more sadistic. But that's one thing I didn't like, because at the end of the movie where Billy Loomis is reveals himself, and he's just like, "Oh, come on. Oh God, what's your name again? Cindy? No, that was a Scary Movie.
That was a Scary Movie.
Sydney. Sydney?
We'd have to look that up.
I'm pretty sure it's Sydney. Maybe Robbie, you can help us out there. But when he's revealing himself,
Sydney, yes.
I knew it. But yeah, no. When Billy is revealing himself, it's just like, "Oh, why did I do it? Well, not everything needs a reason." And then be like, "Oh, it's because of this reason." You're like, "Well, you just said that there's like not really any reason, but now there's actual reason to it. So what the fuck?"
I like how he has, like, he calls his victims before he kills his
But his
victims.
reason was so personal.
It was, but don't say that he wasn't going to do it for you. Don't say that there is no reason when there is a reason. Like, you do remember that line, that scene, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, so you were going to say.
It's just with how he calls them, toys with them for a little bit, and he's like, "What's your favorite scary movie?" and all that stuff. It really adds to his own kind of creep factor where it's like, "Ooh, this guy's gonna get you," and we know he's stalking you.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
And the plot twist with having two of them, that was awesome. I think that was the biggest plot twist in any horror movie. That the fact that there's two of them. So like, cause they clear Billy Loomis, and you're just like, "Oh, it's not him. Who is it?"
I disagree. The biggest plot twist in any horror movie is like going to the cellar of Psycho, and the mom's a fucking corpse, and you're like, what the fuck? Yeah, I
I
know.
think, for me personally, this was the best plot twist. But growing up, I remember going to my buddy's house, and he had an older brother, and he had always had the ghost face mask with the blood and the pump,
Yeah.
the knife, and I always saw them just like that's scary as fuck.
Right.
If you ever do a deep dive on the Scream series, I want to be a part of it.
Oh my, you know what? We might have to have a special guest.
I might have to get a new mic where all our voices are picked up, or something like that. Like a mic that I can just put right there when we're actually doing something like that. Like Scream is,
We could do a whole podcast just going through this.
yeah. Even number 3.
Yeah. Number 3, I like that made a lot of people so upset, and I don't blame them. But I still think the first one was the best one.
Yeah, by far.
I don't know how I feel about the new ones though.
I didn't mind Scream 4. But I guess that one's not really a new one per se. I think that one has like
That's like
5 to 10 years since it's been out.
yeah, like I'm talking about the film with Jenna Ortega. Now I love Jenna Ortega. I thought she did a good job with being in this movie. I think she could be one of the new one of the best scream queen.
Scream Queens, yeah.
Yes. But yeah, it's just the other girl, the Loomis's daughter there. I don't like her. I don't like that whole plot line there. That's just me though. But yeah, like I could also talk about this, like I said, for a whole podcast. But that's my number 2 is Ghostface.
All right. I guess it's time for my number 2. And my number 2, most people would probably put him as a number 1 for their favorite.
Guaranteed.
It is the Shape from Halloween, aka Michael Myers. Iconic stalks. He doesn't have a reason to kill. There is a couple scenes in the 2018 movie where the one cop is with him, and he flat out says to him, he's like, "I always thought you needed a reason to kill. I guess you don't have a reason. It's part of you, and it's something that you have to go out and do. It's something that you feel compelled to do." And we might differ on the Rob Zombie version, but I like the Rob Zombie version because it introduces the triad of a serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
It shows like, hey, these are some of the signs to look out for. This is why some of them go out and kill, and it actually, without people realizing it, it actually shows you, hey, an abusive home, hey, kids torturing their pets. They didn't really have him burn something in that movie, but you like the original because it's open-ended to why he killed his older sister babysitting him on Halloween. And
The first Rob Zombie Halloween was okay, the second one was garbage.
I'm only talking about like the first 20 to 30 minutes of that film, before I guess he puts on the mask, but I always wanted it to be like just a mask he randomly found, that he felt power to that mask. And notable kills would be a lot of just him stalking and him getting his prey. A lot of ones. First off, I do want to say, and I heard this on an Undertaker podcast, is how Undertaker Sits Up was 100% adopted from Michael Myers, just sitting up in that one scene in the background where you think he's dead. And oh, man, it's just like, was that the boogeyman? I believe it was.
So I'm going to jump in here because I know you can talk about Michael Myers time as well, especially the Rob Zombie ones.
Hold on, that's what I see for a second.
But I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, Rob. I do like the first one, but I don't think it was as good as the second. I'm gonna say that only because I like the look that Michael Myers had and the I don't know, man. I like has more brutal kills I found, especially in the opening. But
There,
I'm
there's a lot of horror movies where the villain's done really well, but the story around the villain is just not as good. Like I'm thinking Halloween Resurrection, for example, where they're just doing like a live game show or something in his house, and like right at the start he kills his sister, but they share like a weird kind of sentimental kiss, and it's just there's a lot of stuff in that movie where I'm like, oh, but Michael's good.
I
But
love ya, brother, and we can disagree on this, and that's okay.
yeah, we've disagreed on
oh
a handful of stuff on this podcast already.
like especially with this subject as well. Like he likes the fact that there's a backstory to Michael Myers. I prefer the fact that Michael Myers just like did what he did for no reason, and like that's what makes him the Shape. No one knows why he did it, and then especially in the first film, like the original '78, he had the mask on. You don't see his eyes. Like, it's just shadow because
Yeah.
there's no soul.
There are some lines in that Rob Zombie movie where Michael McDowell is saying a lot
He was
of
just
stuff.
pure evil, like Dr. Loomis said.
Yeah, behind these eyes, there's only darkness. Behind these eyes are the eyes of a psychopath or something like that. Like, you will never know why Michael Myers kills. He's just a killer.
Mm-hmm. That's
He-
what I like about it.
He's just stalking. And if you go back and watch some of the original movies before they get anything past H2O or Halloween 3, where you will see in the background Michael Myers without and you sometimes have to go back and watch said movies to he's actually stalking right there. Holy shit, he's right there. Like it is a shadow, the Shape, that's just stalking them. Again,
My God, sorry. Go ahead.
Michael Myers is one of those people we will probably dive into a little down the road and all that stuff.
I like do a whole thing with the franchise. Like I'm gonna have to rewatch all the movies like in a row.
Yeah, that's probably we'll watch it on here, click record,
Yeah,
and watch a handful of horror movies.
but I will say this: my favorite kill in all of horror is the hospital scene from the second Rob Zombie Halloween, where the black nurse is just walking out, and she just starts bleeding, and then Michael Myers just like starts stabbing her in the back, and you can hear the grunts. Like he's pissed off. He's putting effort into these slashes, just like. And just like over and over again, like she's dead, but he keeps going.
One of the saddest kills for me happened in the remake with Rob Zombie, and it is Machete. Danny Trejo. There we go. I said his name finally. I call him Machete in almost every movie he's in. I'm not going to apologize for that. But he's one of the only few male nurses there that he's treating Michael with respect and all that stuff. And then
He was a janitor, wasn't
yeah,
he? Yeah.
janitor. No, he was a male nurse because he was actually inside, handcuffing him and all that stuff. And he's like, "Oh, I'm
that's right,
sorry
too.
about these chains, Michael." And the guy's like, "Why are you apologizing to this guy?" And he's like, "You know what? Don't mind it. Like, don't understand it. Like, I've been taking care of this kid for. You know what? Fuck you. Don't mind it." And then like. He's like, "Oh, Michael, you're out of your cage. Here, let me put these handcuffs on you." And then he starts drowning the guy. and it's just one of the most heartbreaking scenes.
That was really sad.
But the other one I do have, I could talk about kills. I'm going to say one last kill from the remake. I love the truck scene where he's just knocking on the door, and the guy's like, "Hey, bud, you're going to have to choose another stall because I'm dropping something from Memphis or something like that." It's got the same black actor from Devil's Rejects who was Captain Spaulding's brother. And he's just like, "All right, man, I'm Quincy S. Jones." Takes out a knife and just classic scene right there, but I do have to say that one.
I think I've talked about this before on the podcast, but the 2018 Halloween wasn't bad. Like I felt it could have been a lot better, but I feel like the 2018 and forward Michael Myers, I generally feel like his character was tainted because they focused a lot more on the kills instead of his stalker side.
Yeah.
But I will give them the fact that baseball field or football field scene, that was creepy.
Was it the one where he was stalking and then the lights went on and
Yep.
then the lights went off, lights went on?
I will say that was creepy. But
one thing I do have to say about the remake, what I do love, was he was going from house to house to house. Like he would finish at one house, go to the next house. Like
he was
actually
trick-or-treating.
killing everybody on that block.
And can we talk about the fact that, like, all love to the LGBT community, but come on, guys, what the fuck? Michael Myers kills a bunch of straight people with no one bats an eye. He kills 2 gay people, and then everyone's just like, "Oh, he's homophobic." Like, no, he's killed so many people. He's even killed kids, like in the comics.
Yeah, that's a hard one for me. It's seeing the serial killers actually kill kids. Like
We could talk about Terrifiers 3 as well again, but that's going back.
the mall scene, the fucking mall scene.
I was thinking about the opening scene. I thought that was a lot more brutal.
Poor
than
little Timmy.
Yep. But let's move on from Michael Myers.
Yeah, let's go to your number one, then my number one.
I think everyone should already know what my number
The
one
mall
is.
scene was awesome.
I think we should. I think it's pretty obvious who mine is. We haven't talked about him.
Winnie the Pooh from Blood and Honey.
Yes. But
That one still threw me off.
I couldn't even get through the whole movie. I'm just like, this is fucking stupid, man.
We watched the entire movie back with our old friend group, and me and my buddy Tyson were just saying how we could make this movie so much better. One of the things I would have done for Blood and Honey is I would have went back, like, each kill. I know it would have been like, oh, not a story, but each kill should have been like almost like one of those cartoony scenes at the start of that movie.
Oh, that would have been sick.
That would have been different. It would have gave it a different kind of vibe to it, but it's a hard movie to get through.
Yeah. But anyways, back to mine. My number one is Freddy Krueger. I love Freddy so much. It's hard to choose between him and Jason, but I find that Jason is just more badass, where Freddy is, to me, scarier.
Good call.
So I'm gonna go with Freddy Krueger, and I could talk all about Freddy all night long.
Who's your favorite Freddy?
Really?
Yeah.
Obviously, the 2013 remake. No, that was Evil Dead. I'm thinking about what was it? 2010?
Something like that.
But no, obviously it's Robert Englund. He's
I would have said Willie from Simpsons.
oh god. But yeah, no, Robert Englund, the man, the legend himself. I love him, and just that voice, especially the first film. That's by far my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie because he wasn't overly funny. He was scary. He was sadistic. He was enjoying what he was doing. So, like, in the beginning, be like, who was the first victim? Tina? Yeah, Tina. She lifts up. He's chasing her in her dreams. He's like, "Hey, Tina, He turns around and goes, "Watch this." Cuts his fingers off, and like green blood is like puking off or like spewing out as she screams, and then he starts chasing her with his arms out like this, and even like just the arms extending, like, and him saying like, "This is God."
Watch this.
So there's a funny conspiracy theory about his origins actually that I recently found out. I don't know if you've ever heard of the legend of the Hat Man. He's a shadow person that apparently a lot of people see after they take a lot of Benadryl and all that stuff. Apparently, this thing has been creeping around in the world for over 200 years. So a lot of people say that one, the Hat Man, was the inspiration for Freddy.
Well, the inspiration was that someone actually died in their sleep, and no one knows how, but like it wasn't natural causes. Like, if I'm not mistaken, like they were cut up, like a victim from Freddy.
Yeah.
So some people say that is the Hat Man. Some people say it could have been something else. I gotta do a deep dive on that if we're going to go into like, again, this is one of those series that we can deep dive into a lot and talk about every single movie, the development of Freddy Krueger, his design, the remake. But I'm just, my two favorite movies are the first movie, and I think it was it number 3, the non-gay one?
The non-gay one.
Yeah, you've seen that one, right?
Yeah.
Which one was that? Was that number 2 or was that number 3? I want to say that was number 2.
I know my wife and I have seen Dream Warriors way too much.
That was number 2.
Was that number? Wait. Okay. So I'm talking about the one where the kids are in the asylum and you see the one kid with like his veins popping as like being played as a puppet and he's walking to the edge. That was really fucking gross. And the most iconic Freddy Krueger line, "Welcome to prime time, bitch." Ah,
That was part 3.
That
Dream Warriors.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if we did not bring up Jason versus Freddy.
Oh my god.
3 was my second favorite.
Let me just say again, the supporting cast of that movie was kind of cringe, but having both horror icons and them fighting was kind of like, are you team Freddy or are you team Jason?
Yep.
And that's just one of those movies. I wish they would have made a sequel to that one with Ash from the Evil Dead being like the actual protagonist and like doing that. A future guest of ours, he is a horror nut. We're going to be bringing him on the podcast.
They did in comics.
We're going to be bringing him on the podcast probably later on this month when we can all make our schedules align.
Yeah.
It probably won't be live, but we'll probably do a sit-down interview with a horror director straight from Saskatchewan. So I'm very excited for that.
Me too.
All right. Well, that's our lists.
Excuse me?
That's our lists.
It is not. We are waiting for one more.
Okay, so I originally, for this one, had a different one, but the more I thought about it, the more I couldn't put all 3 of them on the list because it's just like, it's my favorite movie, Devil's Rejects, and I have to put Otis. And I thought, okay, what about Captain Spaulding? Well, I really don't see Captain Spaulding killing anyone.
No, because he killed the one guy in the first movie, House of a Thousand Corpses.
Arguably, he was being robbed. He was being robbed and he was standing his ground.
Yep, but that he still killed someone.
He still killed one person.
But that was self-defense.
Yeah. You can't put Baby on the list because I counted Baby's kills and I think she's at 3 to 4 kills. I put 4 on that list because of Fish Boy, and she was present while they were chopping the shit out of him. Otis is the one throughout the entire movies doing the majority of the killing, doing the majority of everything. Again, Baby, I counted her running after that one girl as
Run, rabbit,
Otis is
run!
screaming, "Run, rabbit, run! Run, rabbit, run!" Actually,
then-
you know what the thing about hunting humans is? They all run like scared rabbits.
And Baby's laughter. Like she's enjoying it way too fucking much.
Yeah, and I double checked. It's the cop that's on his knees as he's pulling the trigger. He kills the dad like that.
Was it?
It was. I actually rewatched it
Okay.
just to know, like, just to be sure what we're talking about and being 100% well, not 100% accurate. I am freaking sitting there last week saying The Shining, The Shining, The Shining, when it's like, no, idiot, it's Psycho that you're trying to be like, this is the difference. His most notable kill that I'm going to put on the list is him with Banzo and Sullivan. There, I got the name right too, because
Yeah.
having to go back and making sure this horror podcast is accurate without people being like, it's this, it's this, it's this. Mistakes will happen, shit will happen. I'm not worried about that crap. But that scene where he takes out 2 guys at the same time, they have everything. The one guy has the gun, and he's able to wrestle the gun, aim it Sullivan's neck, grazes him right here. The guy goes down, and I remember watching this. A lot of people were like, no, keep going, just one stab. And he just then basically out wrestles the old man, pistol whips him a couple times, tells them, you better fucking pray. You better pray that lightning comes and strikes my fucking head. And he's going, and just that line of,
I feel it.
I
feel
repent. And you get a second where both of them are just staring at him. And he just pulls the hair from the wind and says the most iconic line of, I am the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's work. And he just fucking goes ham on that guy with a freaking stick. And then he does kind of like the same thing he did in the first movie where he's wearing the dead skin mask when he goes to see the other girl. That one is probably the most iconic kill in that movie.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
Chinese, Japanese, dirty knees. Sorry.
You had to. I get it.
As a guy, I also love that scene.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. Sherry Moon Zombie is a great actress, and she fits all the roles that Rob has put her in.
You know, the one kill that I'll still always feel sad in that movie is when the roadie comes back with beef jerky. And he just, hey, Roy, what's happening here? And he's talking the entire time. Like, what the fuck's out? Like, what's happening? And just boom, right in front of them. And Sullivan, I believe his name is, starts puking all over. And him just, so, that puking kink, is that between you and your old lady? Like, he's torturous. Like, and this is where I kind of say serial killers don't need to use a gun. I have to retract. Like, they use guns nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
And I can talk about Otis and the Devil's Rejects. Even the third film has some really good kills in it. Like when those people are hunting and they come across one of the guys and they're like, we got him. And then you just see Otis come up behind them and wreck shop again.
Oh, yeah.
Like, but there you go. That is our top 5 list. Going back through the list, mine were Norman Bates at number 5, Chucky at number 4, Art the Clown number 3, Michael Myers, aka The Shape, as number 2, and then finally Otis Driftwood as number 1.
For me, my list was for number 5. I had the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers. Number 4 is Jason Voorhees. Number 3 was Leatherface. Number 2 was Ghostface, and number 1 is Freddy Krueger. Also, I forgot to mention, you remember when I had those kittens? My cats had those kittens.
Yeah.
I wanted to name one Leatherface, but then my roommate's kids were just like, no, this is a little Timmy, but I still call him Leatherface.
All right, guys, that will be it for today's podcast. Normally, we will be filming for about
Pretty good lists, guys.
Normally, we would be filming for a lot longer than today, but real life got in both our ways. That's why we're also late.
I was stuck at work, and then I got something else I got to do after this.
Yeah. But these are probably with how quick these podcasts are going to go.
How long was that? I was like an hour and a half, eh?
Hour and 14 minutes.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah. Easy to cut down, easy to be like here, and here. So,
yep.
Successful podcast again. Thank you guys again for showing up, showing that you guys care. These videos are currently, the edited ones are on the YouTube, so don't forget to come over to Twitch, subscribe so you guys don't get hit with an ad while we're mid-list. Subscribe so you guys show that you care, because some of this money is how we will be making future content and all that stuff. Like the YouTube channel, or subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Follow us on Instagram at _Gruesome Twosome.
Yeah, most of these names might be Gruesome Twosome Podcast, so that's just simple Gruesome Twosome without underscores and dots and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Had to choose a name that was very common.
Yeah, well, I like it, because I remember before we started doing this, I wanted to do a podcast, and I couldn't think of a name. And then this guy just comes in instantly like, oh, Gruesome Twosome.
Yeah.
I was like, that's amazing.
Anyways, guys, we're going to cut it here.
Yep.
So, everyone, we will see each other next time on the Gruesome Twosome.
Love you guys.
Oh, also, a cool announcement is we are going to have a... Actually, you guys will
Don't spoil it.
You guys will find that out.
3.
We got a big surprise.
Huge surprise.
Yeah.
Anyways, see you guys next time.
See ya.